Hello, Lucy and Conrad and Caleb. What do you do when you have a team of villains that are on the loose? Well, you call a team of superheroes like the Avengers. This is one of the greatest stories ever. I know I say that a lot, but this really is a great story. As the editor says, have we got a tale for you? Please don't frustrate us. You've got to read it. And don't frustrate your papa. You've got to listen to it. This is introducing Zemo and his masters of evil. We'll find out all about them when we get into the story. The editors say we outdid ourselves in this issue. You're going to see more superheroes, more supervillains, and more super bonehead mistakes than ever in this action packed feature length thriller. All right? Well, to be honest, we all have seen an issue that was even more packed with heroes and villains. And of course, that was the wedding of Reed and Sue. But this is probably number two. Let's get on with it. All right. The mighty Avengers meet the Masters of Evil. And here are the Avengers and Rick Jones. They're watching Captain America do his thing. All right. The editor says, caution, don't tear this magazine or wrinkle the pages or get food stains on it. Well, of course, we can't do that. It's on the iPad. We have a hunch you'll want to save it as a collector's item for a long, long time. Well, I hate to say this, but Papa used to have this very issue. Sadly, I did let it go a long, long time ago. Well, let's see what it's talking about. Iron Man says Cap's shield acts as though it's alive. Look at it move. Rick Jones says, wow, he's really something. And Thor is admiring Captain America too. He is controlling it with the magnets he wears on his gloves. The Wasp says, that whirling shield of yours is like an all-purpose detergent, Cap. And then here's Giant Man. He's standing behind Captain America like a catcher. He said, looks like you won't need me to backstop you, pal. You handle that thing like it's a part of you. And whoops. Again, we see Captain America tossing around his shield and practicing with it. Now he's got these magnets on his wrist to help control it. You deserve much of the credit, Iron Man, says Captain America. You installed your sub-miniature transistors within the center of my shield. Iron Man says, I only designed them, partner. You're the Wonder Boy who makes them sit up and say, Uncle. So Iron Man has added some doodads to Captain America's shield to make it even handier to use. And he says, if I had partners like you, innovations like these in my early career, how much more I might have been able to accomplish. Thor says, the legends tell us your deeds were filled with glory as it is, Captain America. Iron Man looks at the shield. He says, let me check the radio device I put inside it. And Giant Man says, here, I'll open it for you, Shellhead. The Wasp looks on, says, you know something, Blue Eyes? In those oversized hands of yours, Cap's shield looks like a shiny watch fob. But no watch ever had mechanisms like those inside, says Iron Man. They contain the most advanced communication system I could devise, Wasp. Captain America says, if only Bucky could be here now to marvel at these scientific wonders. Thor comforts Captain America. He says, it is not good to dwell upon the past, my valiant friend. You must not allow yourself to continually mourn your youthful, lost partner. Wasp says, showing the mail we've received from all over the world, Thor. Maybe that will cheer him up. Look at all that mail, all for Captain America. Thor says, "They are letters of rejoicing, Captain America, from your friends who are thrilled to learn you are still alive and have joined the Avengers." "Thanks, Thor," says Cap. "It's good to know people haven't forgotten, but I'm afraid I can never forget either. Bucky will always live in my memory." "Cap," says Rick, "you once said something about me taking his place. And now with the Hulk gone—" "I know, Rick," answers Cap. "Your loyalty and trust have been a great comfort to me. They've given me the will to go on. But something else has too, a hunger for revenge. On my oath as an Avenger, I shall devote my life, if need be, to finding the one who caused Bucky's death. Only then will I be able to find peace." So Captain America looks back and remembers. Now we shift our attention. Who is the one who caused Bucky's death many years ago? Does he still live? What has become of him? For the answer to those dramatic questions, let us turn our attention to a lone plane flying over an uncharted South American jungle area, all the way in South America. Y'all find a map and look and see where South America is. It's pretty far away. And the pilot is thinking, "I must be mad to fly this perilous route each year, and yet I cannot resist the gold that Zemo pays me for my services." And there's Zemo. Landing in an almost inaccessible canyon, the pilot emerges from the one-man plane and slowly approaches a masked monarch seated upon a crude jungle throne. "You are on time," says Zemo. "That is good. You know the penalty for failing me. Do you have my supplies?" The pilot hails him and says, "Yes, Zemo, I brought everything you wanted." "Then remain motionless. I shall approach you in my own fashion." "Sure, Zemo," says the pilot, "you're the boss. Whatever you say." And look, all of the South Americans fall on their hands and knees, and Zemo walks on their backs. How cruel he is. "Bah," he says, "even the latest scientific journals which you bring me, there is still no known formula which can remove adhesive X. Am I doomed to wear this accursed hood forever?" Look and see, the face of Zemo is hidden by this hood, and it's stuck to his face with adhesive X. We'll hear more of that story later. The pilot says, "You never told me how that hood got pasted to your head, Zemo, or why you've hidden in this jungle all these years." "And I never shall," says Zemo. "I warn you, it is dangerous to pry into Zemo's secrets." "Wait! What is this? Is it true? Captain America still lives. Look, the newspaper has all kinds of pictures about Captain America, saying he's back in action. First photos of famed hero as member of Avengers." Zemo says, "You fool, why didn't you bring this to me sooner?" "How was I to know?" says the pilot. "What's Captain America to you?" "Silence!" yells Zemo. "I thought I had gotten rid of both of them forever, but the most dangerous one still lives. Do you hear? He still lives! Stomp, stomp, stomp." He's tearing up the newspaper. Don't blame the messenger. Suddenly, a faraway look comes into the hooded eyes of the masked monarch. Then he begins to speak, hatred ringing in his words, forgetting the presence of the man who stands nearby. "He is responsible for me being here today," Zemo remembers, "for me wearing this hated hood like a badge of shame. I remember it all as if it were yesterday. I was in my lab in Nazi Germany, way back during World War II. He says, I was Hitler's greatest scientist, but I was so hated even by our own people, that I found it necessary to wear a hood to conceal my identity. If my victims knew who I was, nothing could have saved me from their vengeance. And he thinks, I am the most hated man in Europe, but it was worth it to receive der Fuhrer's rich rewards. And so Zemo works on his scientific projects. But, he continues, I could not remain hidden forever, not from the most powerful, most dreaded enemy of tyranny the world had ever known. One day, when I least expected it, he found me, Captain America, as he crashes through the window. And Zemo reaches for a gun. And he shoots, but with no avail. Captain America says, I know your latest project, Zemo, an adhesive so strong that nothing can tear it apart, but I'll never let you make a weapon of it for Hitler. Never. Don't throw that shield, says Zemo. No, but here comes the shield, just as Zemo fires the gun. But I was too late. Remembers Zemo, my shot went wild. His spinning shield struck the vat containing my adhesive X, shattering it to bits. And look, the adhesive is pouring all over Zemo. I can still feel it, still feel the accursed adhesive strike my hood, gluing it to my face where it has remained all these years, for nothing can pry it loose. The pilot says, so that's the story. That's why you've hidden here ever since. But before coming here, I had my revenge, or so I thought. I found a way to escape, and then I attacked Captain America and his young partner Bucky. I thought I had destroyed them both. You remember that story. We read it last time when we introduced Captain America to the Avengers. Zemo says, but now I must find him again and finish the job. And because you know my secret, only your blind obedience will keep me from slaying you. You shall become my messenger. You must find 3 people for me if you value your life. The pilot says, I'll do it, Zemo. You can count on me. Back in New York, a short time later, at the local headquarters of Rick Jones' Teen Brigade, one fellow says, have the Avengers reached New York yet? We've got to contact them. It's a double red alert emergency. We're trying to get them now. The JFK International Airport reports that they're about to land. What happened, Tom? What is it? Look out the window. You can see for yourself. It's the Black Knight. He's flying over the city, spreading some kind of mysterious adhesive spray. Do you see the Black Knight? And look, he has a winged horse that he flies on. That's pretty amazing. One of the Teen Brigade says, holy smoke, he's the one who fought Giant Man a few months back and then escaped. And so, this is one of Giant Man's enemies. But now, he's in New York on a mission. Like a winged wraith, the Black Knight swoops over the startled city, spraying the powerful adhesive foam on everything that moves. He says this ought to bring the Avengers on the run as Zemo planned. So the Black Knight is working for Zemo, and he's spreading adhesive X everywhere. And look, everybody's stuck. Even the cars and the motorcycles are stuck. Within minutes, I've almost paralyzed the city, brags the Black Knight. Shipping can't move. Traffic is halted. Zemo's a genius. My spray is all gone now, so it's up to the other 2. Look, he's even stuck a boat in the water. Now that's kind of hard to believe. As if in answer to the Black Knight's last phrase, another menacing figure suddenly appears on the street, melting a steel truck by merely pointing at it. The fellow says, run! It's the Melter. Who is the Melter? there he is, the mysterious melter, the rampaging arch-villain who has the power to melt all forms of iron and who almost defeated Iron Man himself not too long ago. You can imagine how the melter could attack Iron Man. And now he says, back all of you, your puny weapons can't stop the melter. And in fact, his melting ray melts a gun. He says, I'm more powerful than ever now, since Zemo gave me the ability to melt all forms of metal instead of just iron. Now that their weapons have been melted, I'm free to continue spraying Zemo's adhesive X at will. And when the Avengers appear, we will be ready for them too. So look, he also has this adhesive that he's pouring everywhere. And this fella says the ground has become like fly paper. I can't get our shoes off of it. And so he's stuck, hands and feet. That looks like a very awkward position. And who is the third menace summoned by Zemo? None other than the radioactive man, the only living human with the power to repel the enchanted Uru hammer of the mighty Thor. So he has fought Thor before. And he says this is sure to bring the Avengers into our trap. And he also is spraying the adhesive X everywhere. Zemo wanted revenge on Captain America, thinks the radioactive man, but he knew the Avengers would act to protect their newest member. That's why he summoned the Melter, the Black Knight, and me. Each of us will finish the fight we started in the past, leaving him alone to destroy his hated enemy. And so, Zemo's very clever plan is to call on three powerful villains who have fought against Thor and Giant Man and Iron Man. And so now the Avengers leap into action. Before the thought has faded from the radioactive man's brain, the one he has hoped to trap appear like five fighting furies ready for action. Giant Man says, we're just in time. It's the radioactive man. Captain America says he alone can't be responsible for what's happened to the city, but we'll find a way to get the truth out of him. Look, what a great shot of the five Avengers going into action. Back, all of you. I have fought him before. Leave him to me. And so Thor throws his hammer, but see how the radioactive man can repel it. And he says, surprise, Thor? Have you forgotten that only my radioactive body can repel your hammer? Against me, you're helpless. And so, that hammer flies right back at Thor. And then the radioactive man says, now all I need do is strike you with adhesive X, and you'll be as helpless as any mortal. Thor says, my hammer may be useless against you, but my speed is still that of the thunder god. You missed. But the spray which misses Thor goes past him to strike the speeding Captain America and Giant Man. Captain America says, my knee is pinned to the ground. I can't move. And look, Giant Man is stuck also. He asks, what's going on? Wait, says Captain America. I seem to remember from the past. Zemo had such a weapon. He called it adhesive X. It's impossible, but it could be the answer. He may still be alive. Let's try to figure it out later, Cap, says Iron Man. Right now, I've got to free you before it hardens any more. And so Iron Man and the Wasp, because they can fly, they're not captured by the adhesive. Iron Man tries to pull Captain America free. But then he hears a voice. Halt, Iron Man, not another move. Have you forgotten your old enemy? Iron Man looks up and he realizes it's the Melter. Where'd he come from? And look, his melting power is melting that metal wall. So Iron Man jumps up into the air. He thinks he's the only one with the power to damage my iron armor, but perhaps if I can take him by surprise. And he says, "You didn't expect me to rush towards you with my magnetic repeller in operation, did you?" And so he attacks the melter. Whoops. There we go. With one lightning-fast motion, Iron Man forces the melter off balance as he also cuts a wide swath of pavement around the two trapped Avengers. Look at him flying around in a circle and blasting the concrete away from the pavement. Again, the Wasp is flying free. And the Wasp then says, "Hurry, Iron Man, I'll keep the melter busy while you find a way to free Cap and my oversized heartthrob." Melter says, "What manner of creature are you?" as the Wasp flies around, confusing him. I'm confused. Iron Man says, "Captain America, see that tow truck ahead of us? We'll hold on to the tow chains while you drive the truck. It'll be like water skiing on dry land," says Giant Man. "Okay, partners, we'll give it a try." And so Iron Man jumps into the truck, and look, they're off. Captain America says, "It's working, getting us away from here. Maybe the vibration will jar us loose." "I'm afraid not, Cap," says Giant Man. "This adhesive X is on to stay. Say, look who's coming towards us. It's the Black Knight." Iron Man says, "I can't stop in time. Hang on." And of course, Giant Man recognizes the Black Knight because he's an old enemy. At that moment, the mighty Thunder God sees the dilemma of his hard-pressed allies. Radioactive Man says, "You turn from me? Are you preparing to flee in defeat, overrated one?" Thor ignores him. He thinks, "I can stay here no longer. The others need my aid." "I have no time to bandy words with you," says Thor. "Stay back while I swing my hammer." "Look out," says the melter. "I've seen him swing that way before. And so have we, right?" He's about to fly through the air, pulled by his enchanted hammer. And so he swings. Radioactive Man and the melter, they have to dodge. And so he's off in the air. No sooner are the melter's words uttered than Thor proves they are true. He says, "I've only a split second in which to act." And so the Black Knight looks up and says, "The Thunder God coming right toward me. I'll have to use my lance." "Careful, Thor," says Iron Man. "His lance is a dangerous weapon. He can fire all sorts of missiles from it. What's going to happen next?" He shoots out a bolo. Thor says, "So you dare fire your whirling bolos at me, do you?" And Thor just knocks the lance away. That's what Black Knight realizes. He knocked the lance from my hand before my bolas could wrap around him. I've never seen such speed, such power. Now we get an up-close look at the Black Knight with his helmet, his cape, and his winged steed. "Quickly," says Thor, "to Anthony Stark's town mansion. We'll find a way to free Captain America and Giant Man before they can catch up with us again." And so, just as we saw the Avengers coming to the fight, now they're fleeing from the fight. And then here are the three villains. Black Knight says, "Zemo's plan wasn't as perfect as we thought. The Avengers escaped from us." "Quite, you fool," says the melter. "Don't let Zemo hear you. Once he takes command in person, the Avengers will be done for." "Look, he's coming now. There's his heli hovercraft." And so this is a helicopter that's a hovercraft. Looks pretty special, doesn't it? And so it descends in the midst of the three supervillains. And so he's got his pilot again. The pilot says, "The streets are deserted, Zemo. It's safe for us to land now." Zemo says, "You think I'm fearful of others? You fool." Zemo lands when he pleases. "Sorry," says Black Knight. "They got away, Zemo. They were just too fast for us." Radioactive Man says, "We'd better pick up their trail before they find a solution for Adhesive X." That gives Zemo an idea. A solution for Adhesive X? I never thought of that. If anyone can find it, the Avengers can. And if I can steal it from them. So, Zemo is hoping that the Avengers can help them, even though they probably don't want to. With such a solution, he thinks, I could tear this accursed hood from my head and walk the streets like a normal man. I must have it. I must. And then he says the only way to find the Avengers again is to draw them from their hiding place once more. Now this is what we'll do. So he has a plan that he shares with his three allies. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, the Avengers feverishly try to remove Adhesive X. Giant Man says, "We've tried everything, even acetylene torches. Nothing will dilute this adhesive. Look, he's trying to burn it off." And Captain America says, "The adhesive goes right through the fiber. We can't even remove our boots." Wasp says, "I have an idea. I'll call the police." I remember a man named Paste Pot Pete. Do you remember him? He's one of the Frightful Four. Wasp says the Torch defeated him months ago. He's probably still in jail. He was the world's greatest authority on pastes and adhesives. And so the Wasp speaks into the phone. "Hello, operator. Get me police headquarters. This is an Avengers priority call." Finally, the call goes through. Moments later, a prisoner is brought into the warden's office. The warden says, "Pete, I have a call for you. There's a certain lady who wants to talk with you." "A lady?" asks Pete. "You may have heard of her," answers the warden. "She's the Wasp. This is your chance to do something to reduce your sentence, Pete. If you're smart, you'll take it." And he says, "I'll do anything to get me out of here sooner." "We're in luck," says the Wasp. "Paste Pot Pete has a super dissolver of his own, which can dissolve any adhesive. It's stored in a warehouse uptown in a metal drum. Someone write down the address." Iron Man reaches out and says, "I'll write it, Wasp, and then I'll go get it." Within seconds, he's flying through the air. He says, "The fastest way there is to use my power jets, but I wonder what it's all about. Why should the Melter, the Black Knight, and the Radioactive Man be spreading adhesive all over the city? What can their motive be? Who is the guiding brain behind them?" Later, a weary, ironclad adventurer returns to the Avengers headquarters with a heavy metal drum strapped to his back. Thor sees him coming. "Cap, Giant Man, he's back. Iron Man is here with a super dissolver. If it works, you'll soon be free." Iron Man says, "And if it doesn't work, I lug this blame thing halfway across town for nothing except a busted back." Well, Iron Man shouldn't complain. He's super strong. Then he says, "Come on, Goldilocks. Don't just stand there. Get this gizmo off me." Well, I would think so, because Thor is pretty strong himself. Once inside, the dissolver is applied to the area containing Adhesive X. At first, there seems to be no reaction, but after a few minutes, "Look, it works," Iron Man says. "I can see the adhesive melting away. You're free." Captain America says, I hope we'll get another chance to tackle the ones who did this. Giant Man says, Wasp, get me Paste Pot Pete's full name. I want to remember him in my will. So, Captain America says, what are we waiting for? Let's go get them. Giant Man says, easy, Cap. There's more to this than we think. Thor agrees. Giant Man is right. If we only knew the purpose of their attack, what is behind it? Giant Man says, each is a foe one of us has fought before and who has almost defeated us. I get it, says Captain America. Each thinks he knows your weaknesses, like the melter can melt Iron Man's armor. But let's throw them a curve. Let's switch enemies. We'll catch them off guard. A clever plan, says Thor. And Captain America says, if the leader of that trio is who I think it is, I'll have my own enemy all cut out for me. And so Captain America realizes that the mastermind must be his old enemy, Zemo. He says, till then, there's one more thing to do. I'll put through a call to the teen brigade. And so he picks up the phone and dials the number. Do you kids even know what he's doing? What is this thing? It's an old-fashioned telephone. Thor says, see how quickly he conceives a battle plan, how smoothly he goes into action. It was a lucky day when we added Captain America to the roster of the Avengers. Well, I should say so. I think it's lucky for us that Captain America is part of the Avengers. He makes them an even better team than they were before. But they're all going to have to be the best they can be to fight against Zemo and the Masters of Evil. And we'll come back and finish this story soon. All right, y'all. I hope you're having a good time. Love y'all. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.